Hey everyone, today we're finally going to be checking out the Evergoods CTB20. I was really bummed that I missed out on the initial pre-order, and just given my enthusiasm for the larger version of this bag, the CTB26, I was definitely curious to see how this layout would feel in a smaller, more daily carry friendly size. So I've had a chance to put it through its paces over the past week or so, and in this video I'm going to be talking about what it's been like to test it. I'll show you how I've loaded it out, walk through all the features, and I'll also talk about how it compares to some of the other similar bags that are currently on the market. Before jumping into the video, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Danny, and on this channel we love reviewing popular travel and everyday carry gear. If you like these types of videos and you'd be interested in seeing more, please consider subscribing as it helps the channel out a lot. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. The aesthetic and the layout of the CTB20 are pretty much identical to the CTB26, which I've covered in detail in a few other videos, so I'm really going to try to focus on the impacts of the size differences on various areas of the bag. So aesthetically, you still have the nice crossover minimal appearance. You have the black colorway that I have here, and Evergoods also recently released a green version, which looked pretty cool. The materials, this is a 420D HT nylon, which I've used on some of the other CTB26s. It holds up well, it offers a nice amount of weather resistance. It's a little less rigid, which I like. And you have the nice YKK zippers. Continuing along the exterior, the water bottle pockets are one of the areas that I was very curious to see how it would feel with this smaller form factor, and they still offer a nice amount of capacity, and this material and style that Evergoods uses is one of the best implementations. I did notice that it was tougher to get a 26-ounce Yeti into this compartment. This is something that I didn't really struggle with at all on the CTB26. Here, when the main area is packed out, even though this expands outwardly, it really took some effort to get it in there. Now you can see that it does stretch out, but it's just something that I would be a little bit more cautious with over the longer term. I don't know if I would be able to comfortably fit a 1-liter water bottle, as some people like to carry. So this is really the size that I would recommend, the 26-liter. But still glad to have these on the exterior. Besides that, you still have the logo on the front, handle on the top, on the side, very similar style to what we're used to from Evergoods. Couple of attachment points near the handles. This bag does stand up pretty well on its own when it's loaded out. The bottom is still pretty wide and flat, so I've been able to place this down next to me, access the compartments without a ton of issues. Now this can shift a little bit, so if you move some of the weight out of the back, I could see this potentially tipping over, but so far it's been a pretty consistent experience. And then taking a look at the aspect that I was most curious about, the size. This comes in at 20 liters, which is generally a really great daily bag size. When I saw the dimensions released for this, I was a little bit concerned on the height. I tried out Evergoods' PLC20 a little while back, and that was a really solid bag, but it felt pretty small for my height. I just felt like it was tight and difficult to use, and so I was concerned that the dimension on this were kind of close to that on the height. So now that I've had a chance to wear it, I can say that it feels pretty good. It's a little shorter than I would normally like. I kind of wish that this had come in at 22 liters, similar to the MPL22. So that is just a little bit of a better fit for me. I know that 20 liters is plenty for many people, and I've used other 20-liter bags that I love. So I'm almost holding it to an unfair standard because this is still a really great size. For the most part, it feels good. I do notice the issue on the lower back with the frame sheet on the bottom, more with this size than I did with the CTB26. Now, that can be adjusted depending on where I wear the bag, but it's something that I wish it had a little bit more height, but still felt like I was able to hold the items that I would normally want to carry with me. And that's one of the most impressive things with the form factor of this bag, is that it always feels like it could hold more than you would expect. And so, yeah, a little bit shorter than the MPL22 and of course the CPL24. And so I have a couple of shots here just showing the different sizes so that you can see some of the differences, which isn't always easy to tell by just looking at dimensions of bags. So, you know, CPL24 is one of my favorite sizes in general. That's what I typically like to use. I would have loved to have seen this maybe in a 24-liter size. And then next to the CTB26, you can also see some of the differences. Very similar, it's just kind of shrunken down on the height, the width a little bit. It just feels like a smaller version of the CTB26, which shouldn't be surprising. And then just to do one more comparison, you can see it next to the GoRuck GR1 21 liter, which at 21 liters has maybe a little bit more height than this, but they're fairly similar as far as the form factor. So, you know, lots of commentary on the size here, but it's still really versatile size. This is actually something I would feel more comfortable with as a personal item than the CTB26, which I have used many times without issue, but this feels like it'll be really great for some of the airlines that are more strict with the dimensions while still being able to provide a great amount of capacity. It does tend to stick out a little bit more. It's not an overwhelmingly bulky bag. It still maintains a pretty small form factor, but the depth does come out quite a bit to just allow you to store that extra stuff and really take advantage of all the compartments that the bag has to offer. Continuing with the harness system, same style here as what we've seen with some of Evergoods' newer releases. So a nice amount of padding. It has this new fabric they've been using to provide you with additional breathability. Same thing on the back panel. Nice amount of padding here too. You still have the hydration bladder pass-throughs and then the straps contouring on your shoulders. And as I mentioned earlier, the biggest thing that I've noticed here is that for my height, this just tends to feel a little bit tighter, more compact than what I'm used to. And so you still very much have to kind of be mindful of the frame sheet on the bottom, digging into your lower back in different ways depending on where you like to wear the bag. I know many people called that out with the CTB26, and so yeah, it's just something to keep in mind, not a deal breaker. And you know, I've worn this bag a little bit higher, a little bit lower as I've tried to find that balance, but generally it's still the same sort of experience that I've had with other Evergoods bags. And you have the luggage pass through. I like that it's still pretty big, so I didn't notice any loss of being able to use this with the suitcase handles that I typically like to use. Of course, it's not quite as large as the one on the CTB26, but I mean, this is more than enough space for most of the suitcases that I've tend to see on the market. Jumping into the organizational options, as I mentioned earlier, same layout as the CTB26, one of my favorite pocket layouts of all time. And I was very curious to see if it would still be as functional with the smaller form factor. And you can see here, I've really got it packed out, and you can start to get a sense of the volume that these outer compartments have, which is really interesting. And so starting off with the quick access pocket on the front, which is one of the biggest differences with the CTB line, and one of my favorite pockets, because it's just like a magical pocket. It always feels like it can hold so much stuff, and I was very excited to see that it is the same here with the CTB20. So main area is full, all the other compartments are in use, and still I have this compartment that has leftover space. At the moment I have a headlamp in here, and it was able to hold the Evergoods Civic Access pouch ½ liter. That's able to fit in there, and then I could put my sunglasses above that if I wanted to. So it's a little bit smaller than the CTB26, but you're not losing a ton of functionality in my opinion. So really impressed there. At the top, same thing with the quick access pocket. These are the items that I normally have here. My sunglasses, even with a bulkier case, no problem. I still have my AirPods. I could have put maybe a charging cable in there if I needed to. On the front, same layout as far as just having a couple of slip pockets for a charging cable, the zippered pocket. I have a little notebook in here, and then you have a lanyard with the clip, a little slot at the top for a pen or a stylus. No noticeable difference here. Still had space if I wanted to store my tablet or my notebook, which are the items that I tend to place here when I want to grab them a little bit more quickly. And then the laptop compartment, still able to hold my 14-inch MacBook Pro without any problems. You can see there's some leftover space here at the top. I imagine a 15-inch laptop could still fit in here. 16 is probably right at the edge, but you know, still a nice amount of space. That's typically the experience I've had with this size of bag. So you still have the layout that offers you the protection, suspended sleeve here, padding. You also have the extra space in this area to put maybe a notebook, another device, folder. So, you know, really great to see that the difference in capacity didn't impact that compartment. And then moving into the main area, clamshell style opening, and at the moment I still have just kind of my normal modular setup. The Evergoods Civic Access pouch 1 liter, the ½ liter, my headphones, another pouch, the cap 2, and all of those things fit in there. It still didn't really overly stuff the compartment. I had some space for like another jacket or an extra pouch if I needed it. You have the slip pocket here. And one thing that is a little different is that you don't have the rows of webbing at the top like you do with the CTB26. So that's something to keep in mind. And then on the other side, you still have, the great zippered compartment here with its own dedicated volume. So even with the front compartment in use, I still was able to place some bulkier charges here. I have my USB-C hub with its cable, and then I also have the alpaca admin pouch. And at the top in this zippered area, you still have the internal slip pockets and enough volume for the types of items that you would store in there. So, continuing to keep the functionality, even with the smaller form factor, is the running theme with this bag. And then with the amount of space that's offered here, now that it's empty, this could still work as a really solid minimal travel bag. I could toss in my packing cube, a dopp kit, an extra pair of shoes. I would easily be able to use this for a longer weekend trip. So really great to see how Evergoods was able to incorporate all the things that make the CTB26 such an excellent bag into the smaller form factor. I can see why this has been so popular. I'm sure that I'm gonna really enjoy using this a lot as I try it out more and more and get used to the smaller size. So if you liked the CTB form factor and you want more daily carry friendly size, I think this is an easy buy. And if you haven't had a chance to check out the CTB because you were a little worried that it was too big, then I definitely recommend you check this one out. And so to wrap up, it's been a great experience testing out the Evergoods CTB20. At the time of filming, I'm not sure if they'll still be available on the company site or if you'll have to wait for the next round of pre-orders. The bag is going to come in at around $260, so definitely premium pricing. It is an investment. You are, however, getting something that's pretty solidly built and that's going to offer an awesome feature set, but there's going to be some other great bags in this price range that may be worth considering. And so as I was testing this out, the first bag this made me think of is the Evergoods MPL22. Evergoods, of course, has a lot of great alternatives in their lineup, like the CPL24, the CHZ22, but the MPL really felt closest to this in my mind with the clamshell style opening, the dual external water bottle pockets. It still has a comfortable harness system, great organizational layout. One of the key differences is that it's not going to have the dedicated laptop compartment. It has a slip pocket in the main area that you can use to hold the laptop, but it's not as protective as I would typically like. But if you're not somebody who's carrying a laptop as regularly or you just don't care as much about it, the MPL has a lot to offer. It's got a crossover aesthetic, really nice silhouette. It's offered in a couple of different fabrics. I really like the Eco Pack edition. It offered a ton of weather resistance. And so if you're looking for something kind of like this, that's gonna come in at that 22-liter size, so just a little bit more space and it's not gonna have the laptop area, that's gonna be an excellent option to consider. The next bag this made me think of is the Air City Pack Pro, which is a really great tech and everyday carry bag with a sleek, modern aesthetic, very weather resistant and durable materials. It's got a nice organizational layout, quick access pockets, dedicated laptop area that's well padded, suspended, water bottle pocket, really comfortable harness system, luggage pass-through, so checking off a lot of the same boxes as this one here. And if you're looking for something kind of like this that's gonna have a little bit more of a modern aesthetic, and that's also gonna be slightly larger, and that's gonna be one of the best options that you can take a look at. And then the last option that I'll mention here, if you have a little bit of a tighter budget, is the Fjallraven Raven 20. I've been a big fan of the Raven series of bags for the past couple of years. I have the 28-liter hanging on the wall behind me, and it's recently had its harness system updated, so it's pretty comfortable to wear, and then it just has a very functional layout. It's got, lots of organizational options, quick access pocket, padded laptop sleeve. The larger 28-liter size has a dedicated laptop sleeve. The 20-liter size has it built into the main compartment, so it's great that you have the two size options. But even with the 20-liter size, it still offers a nice amount of protection, dual external water bottle pockets, and it's also got more of a heritage classic vibe. So if you're looking for something with that type of style that's still gonna offer tons of functionality at a slightly lower price point, that's gonna be an excellent option to keep in mind. With that being said, the Evergoods CTB20 holds up very well against all those options. It definitely lived up to the expectations that I had built up in my mind. I was very happy to see that the size worked out better than I was anticipating, and if you're looking for a very functional everyday carry bag that's gonna offer just an excellent organizational layout, solid build quality, good laptop protection, this is gonna be an excellent option to take a look at. And I'm definitely curious to hear what you all think of the CTB20 and how it compares to some of the other popular EDC bags that are currently on the market. And if there's any similar options that you think that I should check out, as always, please let me know in the comments. And I want to thank you for watching and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.